Hi everybody, Matt back with you. Hope you're okay. Happy Easter or Easter holiday. Today's Good Friday. What I'm doing today is part 2 of our pub crawl. Our look at the old Todmorden pubs using Barbara's book from 1989. It's been that awkward moment this week thinking who's going to get the second round in. So the first video, if you've not seen it, looks at the pubs of today and yesterday from Todmorden town centre. So I've decided for video 2, it's the pubs that you can find on Halifax Road, so between Todmorden and Hebden Bridge. What we will notice today, going off the map, starting from here, which I'm on Industrial Street, is that none of the pubs survive. There is not one pub that we will go past today on that route that is still there. Even in 1989 there were not many of them left. Some of the pubs we'll come across today haven't been there for over 100 years or so. They've been demolished due to things like the railway or road widening over the last couple of centuries. Because of that, and like I said in video 1, because I'm not really from here, there's certain parts of this that are going to go horribly wrong, and I'll be completely wrong with where I am now. Some of you have told me certain things from video 1 that I didn't know, and I appreciate that very much. Anyway, what I also did in video 1 was waffle too much, so I'm going to stop there and let's head out into the glorious Good Friday and just see what's left of the pubs between Todmorden and Hebden. So we're going to follow in the same format as we did in video 1. We'll walk, show you either the pub that was there or the space it occupied or near enough abouts, and then any old pictures of that pub next to it. So starting here, across the road from Todmorden Hippodrome, we have the Doctors, and the first pub would have been here at the bottom of Stack Hills Road. There's Stack Hills Road. So we believe the pub was here, and it was called the New Inn, which was opened in 1844. However, there were structural issues with the building and the roof collapsed on it in 1972. The building was soon demolished afterwards as it was unsavable. But yeah, it could have also been here. But yeah, basically in this location somewhere. Next stop is here. This is the former Rope and Anchor pub, which is now next to Lidl. This is one of the older pubs. This opened in 1787, but at the time it was classed as a pub for canal builders. Apparently the people who did use this pub at the time when they were building the canals, it became known as a navvy pub. And obviously I don't mean the characters from Avatar. Apparently they caused quite a ruckus in the town at the time. Yeah, this one's been gone not too long. I do remember it being open when I moved here. It's now a DIY shop. Our only diversion really off Halifax Road today is to head up Crosstone Road and show you a pub that was just up here, across from Crosstone Church. Now before I tell you what it's called, have a guess. You remember what it could be? There's the former Crosstone Road just across there. I'm taking a slightly scenic route to reach Crosstone, especially as it's such a gorgeous day. From here, we look down on Castle Hill. You see Studley Pike in the distance. things like Oldroyd over here somewhere. This image may be completely pitch black, it's just the sun is in my eyes, but hopefully you can make something out. This path takes us directly up to Crossstone. I better be quiet, there's something hiding in the trees there. What is it? So here we are, Crossstone Church. Now private residence. We want that building just there. So the pub we're coming up to was called the Bay Horse Inn. It was originally a farm and was built about 1714. Now, despite being a pub for nearly 200 years, the Bay Horse had its most success apparently in the 1980s. However, it changed hands multiple times and became many different names and many different things, including, I think, a nightclub called Crockett's. That really made the pub a go-to place because it had a disco room. Its last piece of public life was as the Berghut Brandstätter, an Austrian restaurant, and then it closed in 1988. Do you have any memories of the Bay Horse Inn? Maybe one day I should do a video on Todmorden churches. What do you think? But for now, let's head back onto Halifax Road. We'll head on this road to reach our next set of pubs near Castle Hill. I think this is an old school, and Castle Hill School replaced it. I'm afraid I can't tell you what it's called, I'm sure somebody will answer me. What I need to be mindful of today, I think, is that it's a hot, sunny bank holiday, middle of the afternoon, and people are sat outside what are now their private residences. So I will be careful. There may well be sometimes I can't film it at all. I'm not going to film people sat outside their property. I'm sure you understand. So we've made it back onto Halifax Road. Opposite is the bus garage, which had a roof when I moved here. And this is the next pub, just here. So this has been recently renovated in the last couple of years. It's called the Shannon and Chesapeake. It's quite a mouthful. It's named after an American and British ship who fought off Boston Harbour during the American Civil War in 1813. Now the car park next to the Shannon, just noticed this section here, which is obviously a wall of a former building, possibly a row. This could well be one of the pubs I have no idea about. I'll check my notes. It's got an Accrington Norrie brick at the top. Iron backwards, basically. Okay, this is my first call for help. Somewhere here, I think, is Castle Street, and on Castle Street there was a pub called the Shepherd's Rest. Not that one. It was known as the Vicarage to the locals who used it. It closed in 1936. However, yes, I have no idea quite where it would have been. As we head through a little snicket, we see our next old pub. So if you can see it in the sunlight, apologies, this was the Swan with Two Necks, which is one of the oldest pubs on the road, dates from 1765. It was just known as the Swan for a while. It was described even in the 1820s as an ivy-clad building. The ivy's still there, but the pub's been closed quite some time. There is some evidence of its former use on the side here. Car park, hotel patrons only. In the 1870s, the landlord was called Thomas Ashworth. It was noticeable that he lived to 94 years of age. I'm not sure if he was still working at 94 years of age. That's still quite a good run for that time. Up and over the hill at Castle Hill. Now, what isn't on the list? Things like working men's club and social clubs, but worth pointing out, there is a still think in use social club here. Now this is an area of Todmorden that's changed quite drastically over the last 20 years. And you've got a pub there. This was Lob Mill, which is obviously now all houses. I've just seen there are people outside the pub, so instead I'll show you some old pictures of what it looked like. Actually from here you can't see the people, so that's okay. Yeah, this was the Rose and Crown. Dates from early 1800s. Apparently for many years, maybe still the case, possibly not now, it's privately owned, used to be a room that stretched from one side to the other on the first floor of the Rose and Crown, and it was used as a courtroom. Coroners' courts would often be found in pubs in the 19th century. And the back of the Rose and Crown also had a mortuary. Now I think this is the car park to our next pub. So could this be the site of another Royal George? The info I've got is it's opposite the Rose and Crown car park, so potentially. I could be very wrong. And it's been gone since, 1964. As we head down to Lob Mill area, we'll start to see signs of what happened to buildings when the railway appeared and the roads were widened. However, just want to go back for a second to a story from the Shepherd's Rest. So Shepherd's Rest on Castle Street, no, I couldn't even find Castle Street, belonged to the Holden family in the late 1800s. They had the pub for quite a long time. They had a pretty tragic decade though. 1881, William Holding passed away, aged just 50. His wife took over. She passed away not long after. And at her funeral up at Crossstone, their son, I think it was called Frank, he fell ill during the funeral and passed away the next day. So that's a grave to possibly go and find at Crossstone. It's difficult filming today, there are so many people about. Let's get back on track. So our next pub is just a little bit further from Lob Mill stables, just around the corner. Most of the pubs on this route are long since demolished, but you'll be able to see things like the back wall there. This was a whole row, and in amongst it was the Star Inn. Now I've covered the Star Inn separately on a separate video. Separately. Search Star Inn Todmorden, you'll find that video, but there's a couple of screen grabs here. Yeah, essentially this is the location of the Star Inn, and that is the cellar for the Star Inn. This inn was demolished again for road widening in the 1930s. Like I said, I think quite a lot of the buildings, the pubs on the stretch we're doing now have long since been demolished. What I'll do in amongst, though, I'll show you where there are some remains of other rows of houses and other pieces of interest en route. Otherwise I'll just be doing, this is where that was, or this is where that was. I've got some pictures of the pubs as well though, which is very helpful. So again, here you can see evidence of steps to now nothing. Back walls, long since reclaimed by nature. But not sure quite what was here. Same here. More old stairs. So here is possibly the site of Lob Mill Inn, which was once next to a water-driven corn mill. Now there is a valley just a bit further up where water once, still flows, I think. I don't know if there was a mill there or whether it means this mill here. Right, I told you it would go completely wrong. Stop everything. Rewind. Where I've just said was Lob Mill. That's wrong. That area is called Springside, and that is where the Royal Oak Hotel was. Yeah, so the Royal Oak Hotel was a 3-storey property. We have a picture of it as well. That was demolished in, I think, the 1930s. I need to check my notes. No, 1967. This is very professional. And apparently next to that was the Freemasons' Arms, which was the first Freemasons' lodge, which was established in 1812, before the Freemasons moved further down eastward. So the Royal Oak was demolished for road widening, and the Freemasons was demolished for the railway. So the Freemasons has been gone a long time, but their building is what comes up next. Okay, now I'm really confused because it said the Freemasons' Arms was on Duke Street, at the bottom of Duke Street, which is here, not further back. I think, as these buildings are long gone, let's just crack on. Ahead of us is what is now the Masonic Hall at Eastwood. And we once again have evidence of buildings that have been demolished for the road widening. Same here. There's also an old graveyard at Eastwood for a chapel long since demolished. And across the road we have the site of Eastwood Station. Again, according to reports, next to Eastwood Station was Halfway House. Potentially that could be what's left of Halfway House, or in that spot. We do have across here where they would deliver coal. There's an old photo of these with a train above, coal being delivered. Okay, I am definitely giving myself a headache today. This has not gone to plan since we left Castle Hill area. So difficult to pinpoint where things were when the whole structure of the roads has changed. So I can only apologise if I am completely wrong, but please do correct me. Do tell me where things are that I'm getting wrong here. I've just come off the roadside, there's so much traffic. So let's come and have a nice peaceful walk by the train line whilst we head to the last few pubs on this road. One of them at least is very obvious. Right, so I'm definitely in the area now where the Wood Mill Inn would have been, because it's on the map saying it was near Murgatroyd's Mill, which is just here. I don't know if this is it across the road. Again, you can see remains of a whole row of houses. If one of those was the Wood Mill, I'm not sure. But I definitely know I'm in the right area. I think it could potentially be this one, with it being close to the roadside. See where windows, doors would have all been on here. Right, I've cheated to give my brain a rest from the constant traffic noise I'm fighting with to reach our final pub. I'm currently next to what was Aquaspersion's Mill, across between the canal and the river. Across a bridge over the river, back onto Halifax Road. Can you think what our last pub could be? So just beyond in the distance is the Rudman Inn. Now actually, it could also be the remains of a pub here that was called the Nudger Inn. Again, it's likely to have been demolished for work to widen the road, but there is definitely something here, isn't there? Back here. The Nudger Inn I don't think is on the official map, so we won't call it this one in case this is just a house, but that would suggest to me it was. Yeah, this is our final pub, just on the edge of Todmorden, Woodman Inn, which is abandoned, derelict, but sadly inaccessible to the likes of me. So this building dates from 1902 and is on the site of a pub that was called the Old Woodman, which was here in the 1830s. And despite its appearance, I don't think it's actually been empty that long, maybe 15, 20 years. Weirdly upstairs, there's a light on up there. You can see it's definitely not in good condition now. But at least, for the sake of this video, I can show you an actual building at last. Well, that could well have been one of the most stressful videos I've ever done. So that is all the pubs, give or take, between Todmorden and Hebden Bridge on the Halifax Road, and that proved to be far more difficult and mind-boggling than I ever expected it to be. Fair play to Barbara for doing that list. I don't know if she found those places, but yeah, there's one or two, three maybe. I just don't know. So yeah, embarrassing really. It makes me think I need to look ahead for the other 2 or 3 videos on this topic of Todmorden's old pubs, to see if I can find them first. In terms of the Woodman, yeah, you know me well enough. I have looked around the back, there is no access. If you own the Woodman and would be willing to grant me access to film it before it's gone forever, please do get in touch. I won't break in, I promise. I don't do that, but I do like to capture things, and this one I think won't be stood here much longer. However, yeah, fair play to anyone now living in those houses that we've come past. Again, apologise if it's been intrusive today, but at least we've covered it. So which of the pubs do you remember from this stretch on Halifax Road? Which ones did you visit? Any stories? Tell me about it. If I've got it completely wrong, any info, any locations, and I definitely have today, please correct me. I think I'm going to wait for a wet Tuesday morning before I do any of the videos in this series, but we will come back to it soon. So take care guys, enjoy the rest of Easter. We'll see you soon.